Okay, cool. All right, so thank you both for joining this interview that's part of a film that we're creating called The Revelation of You. And I'm going to just begin by saying that I met Dr. Lipton and Alex Lipton at a really wonderful workshop last summer called The Honeymoon Effect. And Dr. Lipton and his wife, Margaret Horton, were running it. And it was really, I'd read the book before, but it was and I've read your Biology of Belief book. And so it was just a really great review, and I got some more insights, but around this whole idea, because you're a cellular researcher and you've shown how beliefs affect our physical, environmental, emotional selves. And you also introduced something new to me that I'd read about in the biology, in the Honeymoon Effect, which was the PSYCH-K work for releasing the subconscious programming. So that was all really amazing. And at the end, you kind of finished with this whole concept of oneness. And at the end, I was like, oh, I would love to have the experience of asking you kind of about oneness, and because that's sort of what comes through in this film. And then when I mentioned that we were doing aura photos with crystals, you were like, crystals, you need to talk to my nephew, Alex. And so then I went over and talked to Alex, and now he's actually helping me with interviews and editing and stuff for the film, which is really awesome. And I've also gotten to know him better. And besides both of you being really kind, you're both really brilliant people. And you have a lot of insights to share. So thank you. Yeah. And let me just really quick read the bio for Dr. Bruce Lipton. Cell biologist and lecturer, internationally recognized leader in bridging science and spirit. And Bruce was on the faculty of the University of Wisconsin School of Medicine.
Was on the faculty.
Was on the faculty, and later performed groundbreaking stem cell research at Stanford University. And you're the best-selling author of The Biology of Belief, The Honeymoon Effect, and co-author with Steve Barman of Spontaneous Evolution. How do you pronounce his name?
Behrman, like a bear. Man.
Oh, Behrman. Okay, that's cool. And then Bruce received the 2009 prestigious Goya Peace Award.
Goya.
In honor of
Japanese word.
What?
It's a Japanese word.
Yes. The Goya Peace Award, Japan, in honor of your scientific contribution to world harmony. And then more information about you can be found on brucelipton.com. And then Alex Lipton is a videographer, an editor, podcaster, VFX artist, sound, camera, filmmaker, Gnostic student, teacher, PSYCH-K facilitator. And Alex's info and contact can be found on his website called videoshaman.com. So thank you both.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I just want to kind of begin because just a kind of a general question, like your thoughts on this whole concept of mind, body, spirit. What do you guys?
I think about that. Do you, Alex? Do you think we have thoughts?
Yeah. It's a subject that I've heard a little bit about. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, basically, I come from a biological point of view as a cell biologist and studying cells and cloning cells and observing their lives to recognize that the cells are like miniature people. All the functions that we have in our body are present already in most every cell in your body with a nucleus. Things such as respiratory, digestive, excretory, nervous system, reproductive system, even immune system are in cells. I go, that led me to understand, how does it work in a human? The answer is, well, fundamentally, it works in the cell, and that's the foundation of how to apply its knowledge to the human. So I was working with that, and my research revealed that our current belief that genes turn on and off and control the character of our lives is 100% false. And I say, well, why is that relevant? And the answer is, what are we teaching people? oh, genes control the character of your life. As
Mhm.
far as you know, did you pick them? As far as I know, no. Okay, but I said, what? Wait, if you don't like the character, can you change these genes? The answer is no. And then add on top, and these genes turn on and off by themselves, which means like I was just walking down the street and a cancer gene turned on, and boom, I just got cancer. The significance of putting those points together is that a person becomes a victim of their heredity. The
Mhm.
genes control them, they do not control the genes. And as a victim, they give up their power because they say, well, I don't know how to control that. And then we have the pharmaceutical company say, well, we can help you. We got chemicals for you.
Mhm.
And that's all built on the belief of victim. The research that the cells revealed to me very simply is the other way around, is that our consciousness, our thoughts, our beliefs are translated into chemistry by the brain. And that complementary chemistry is then sent via the blood to the body, and that chemistry controls our genetics and our behavior. And all of a sudden it says, well, if I change my mind, I say, yeah, you change your mind, you can change your genetics and you can change your behavior. And all of a sudden the idea of victim falls out the window because it says, no, wait, you were the one that was creating that. Yeah, but you didn't know it.
Mhm.
There's an important phrase right here, knowledge is power. What Alex and I have been helping people with is knowledge of self, which means self-empowerment. And the idea of this is knowledge is power. That's a true statement. But another true statement, same thing, is a lack of knowledge is a lack of power.
Mhm.
That when we bought the idea that genes turn on and off, that's wrong. That's a misperception. That's a lack of knowledge. That has disempowered us. That
Mhm.
the new knowledge is a science called epigenetics that shows how the environment is actually adjusting our biology. But the environment is filtered through the mind. So the mind is a filter that reads the environment, interprets the environment, and then sends the interpretation into the body. The bottom line is this: you're the one that's making the interpretation. You're the one that has the picture and the vision. And the brain translates that into the chemistry which operates and controls your biology. Am I a victim? I say, only of my thought. Because if I
Mhm.
change my thoughts, I change my biology. Now, Alex will get into this in a little bit, talk about PSYCH-K, changing thoughts possibly. But the point
Mhm.
about it is that is the whole reason why this new biology is so important. It's a revolution. We are going from the concept of victim to the concept of mastery. It's
Mhm.
our consciousness that controls us, and we control the consciousness. And all of a sudden, we then become not accidents of life, but creators of the life that we lead.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And something that comes to mind also in my research and just my worldview, I would say, also very much inspired by science that I've learned in biology of belief and other more ancient stuff like the hermetic principles. This idea of polarity is that kind of our world can be looked at in terms of polarity. There's always going to be a positive and negative aspect to things like a magnet or a battery. And when we talk about mind body relationship, that's kind of another one of these polarities. Now, something that I always thought was interesting, there's this saying that there's always at least two sides to any story. But in this case, with body, mind, spirit, there's even a third other perspective to this story that comes together when you put body and mind together, this relationship of mind over body that we hear a lot about, mind over body.
Mhm.
But like Uncle Bruce talks about how our consciousness is creating our biological experiences, our body is like the perfect reading device that prints out what is it our mind is actually doing here. So our body is in a lot of ways just a reflection of what's going on in our minds. So when we bring these two aspects together, body and mind, and the relationship that we can understand a little bit better, how we can have a better relationship with our mind and our body, it gives us another aspect, a third hidden perspective, which is spirit, which is the bigger questions of who are we, why are we here, where are we going? And depending on the relationship of these two things, it can really affect those answers. So it's been a really interesting, wild ride to go along with Uncle Bruce, not just making videos, but learning from his work and seeing how this other perspective that kind of emerges, which, to put in Uncle Bruce's words in conclusion here, to why it's relevant, is that the the fact that you can change your biology and to change your mind puts you right into the driver's seat. Like he said, knowledge is power. The other aspect of this that Uncle Bruce and I talk about a lot too is the idea that you have to apply this knowledge. This is where Psych-K comes in, or any of these energy psychology modalities, where you take the knowledge of self and how it all works, the mechanism, the aspects to it, and the objective reality, and you put it into practice. This is where you get, again, the pull. What's the pull of knowledge? Is wisdom. Knowledge and wisdom are the two famous things that you'll start to see in any of these spiritual circles or any of the esoteric teachings. Knowledge is power, and wisdom is the application of that knowledge to make it a real life thing in your body, in your life. So I think that's where we're going right now. Is there's a huge influx of knowledge in this world, and there is so many people on the planet, which is a really good thing. There's so many people because there's more connections, more opportunities to share our awareness and get better idea on how to apply this knowledge. How do we walk the talk into the future? So like Uncle Bruce says, we can thrive as opposed to just survive. So
Right.
Let me add an extension of this, the idea of intention and action. A friend of mine, Cleve Backster, he wrote a book called The Secret Life of Plants. He was the guy that put electrical readout on plants to read their activity. And he had this big corn plant, and he wired it up, and he kept trying to elicit a response to this plant so he could see electrical activity. Nothing, no response. He said, he finally got mad, and in his mind, he said, if you don't do this response, I'm going to throw you in a dumpster out in the back. No response. And so I'm going to throw you in that dumpster out in the back. No response. He got fed up, and he stood up to go throw it into the dumpster, and the plant started screaming. And the point about it was this: the intention meant nothing. It was the action that caused the connection. You can talk about all you want, but if there's no action, there's no connection. And this is what Alex was, trying to say. I know this from when I first understood the mechanisms of how we create this life. I try to get people together and say, listen, I can show you the mechanisms of how to create the most wonderful life. And they looked at me and they go, yeah, but Lipton, for a guy who says that, your life doesn't look that wonderful. And then I've realized, and that was it, come to the reality of what? I'm talking the talk. I wasn't walking the talk. And I said to myself, you can't go out there and tell people about this. If it's so good, why the hell aren't you using it? And it was like, oh, use it. Oh, great idea. The moment I applied is the moment my life changed instantly. It was just like the plant. I had great ideas, didn't mean anything, but the moment I applied the idea, the manifestation started occurring right there. To the extent that when we understand the fullness of being here, the fullness of being here is the mistaken belief that when you die, if you've had a really good life, you can go to heaven. I go, if you really understand the science of this, you were born into heaven, because heaven is a place of creation, and everybody's here is a creator, and you can create your version here. When you're dead, you don't have this virtual reality suit, which interfaces this reality. You're the energy. I go, yeah, without the suit, it's very hard to create. And so the idea is, don't wait till you're dead. You have the opportunity to be the creator here, where it turns into a manifestation. It's not just a thought, it's a manifestation. And, what I say to people is like, oh, I can intellectually write you a definition of love, intellectually, okay? But if I never experienced it, then that definition is not complete. It's the experience that then you put into that definition that really turns out what is love. Then that is when you have the physical experience of the word. I can intellectually say the word love, 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 love. That doesn't mean anything. If you are experiencing love, then that's a manifestation of a creation at that moment, okay? So as Alex was mentioning, and as the plants have revealed to us, yeah, intentions are really nice, but there's no power behind them. Only when an intention is activated upon is is reality manifesting from that.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree
You're
too.
better. You're my employee.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
being
and I've
paid to
seen
agree
that.
with that.
I've seen that in your membership, so Dr. Lipton has a membership, monthly membership call, and Alex coordinates that, and he's part of it, which is why I know he's also a good interviewer and has a lot of information to share. But there are people on that call who have used your work to heal themselves. Like when the doctor said they had X, Y, and Z, they were able to realize that they had the power. They didn't become the victim in those situations. And so
But that's why we're here.
very powerful.
That's why Alex and I are here. We're in truth providing a service to reality,
Mm-hmm.
getting people to get out of their perceived or misperceived understanding that they're victims of a world out of control, to awaken them to the real truth that they are a piece of God and they are a creator unto themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that if they don't like the creation, stop blaming the creation, start considering, oh, I'm the one that's a creator. Now we can get to the source.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the idea of co-creation too, because Uncle Bruce with his work talks about evolution in a way that a lot of people actually are not familiar with. People hear the terms like Charles Darwin or natural selection, but people don't really understand the mechanism. And he's got another perspective of it that requires the question of how things are unfolding. So when we start to change our relationship to all of these things, it really becomes a really powerful experience where instead of putting God out there, even that word God could be like a really charged word for a lot of people. But
Spirit is a charged word for a lot of people.
it is, right? Exactly. They both are. They both are. But when we understand the relationship to it and not put it outside, you realize like the Force from Star Wars is a really good way that I think
Yeah.
represents that too, is that it's everywhere, it's everything, it's within you. And when you learn how to have self-mastery in that way, knowledge of self, you can start to really bend the world to your intentions. Your
Yeah.
intentions actually manifest into the world.
Yeah. What do you think about this idea of the channels around us, these channels of energy that move around us and through us? And
The first thing is this, is people have to recognize which they don't because they live in a world of the material existence of ourselves. I'm physical, the background, yeah, that's real. There's trees, houses, all these things. We own onto the concept that there's matter, there's physical matter. It's the science of quantum physics, which I emphasize the most valid of all the sciences because its theories have proven to be the most accurate. Quantum physics recognizes that an atom that we perceive as matter is actually made out of energy. So anything made out of matter, so-called atoms, is actually made out of energy. There is only energy in the universe. There is not matter. The matter is a form of energy, okay? And the relevance about this becomes very critical because if we are energy and everything around us is energy, and I try to relate to people, I show them in my lectures that energy is the equivalent of ripples on a pond. You drop a rock into the water, and the energy of that rock is shaping the water into the ripples, the waves, okay? So first thing is this, energy, though it's invisible, is a force, and it generates waves, okay? Now, what's unique, and here's the whole point right here, is I can have two objects, hand one, hand two. Oh, yeah, and guess what? There's a border. I can't seem to push this hand through that hand because our perception of matter has the perception of a border to it, okay? But ripples, energy, there's no border to them. They just keep going on and on and on. And I try to illustrate that with raindrops falling on a pond. And all the ripples from all the raindrops are on the pond at the same time. I go, yeah, but guess what? There's no border. So all the ripples are connected in some form. The ripples are moving through the ripples. And why? There's no edge. So I say, so where's the separation of something? I say, there is no separation. Everything is energy. Energy has no borders. You are connected to everything. You are an energy within an energy. And the point of what I say about that is, where's your border? And I go, there is no border for Bruce. Oh, you see what we perceive as the physical border? Yeah, but as you know through Kirlian photography, guess what? There's an energy field that extends way beyond this as well. Okay. So the point about it is we are like ripples in a pond. I say, can your ripples not connect with any other ripples? I say, never happened. Why? All ripples are connected. The pond is ripples all over the surface. Point. You're a part of the universe, and there's no separation from you and anything else in that universe. And that is the wholeness that is understood in quantum physics. There's no matter separate from energy. You're just looking at a very convenient form of energy we call a body right now. I say, yeah, but, and then this becomes the, the thing I bring up in the lecture, and it's very important as well. If matter doesn't exist, how can I see you? Because energy is invisible. Good point. And I say it, and I say, I know you're going to laugh. And then I tell them the answer, and then they laugh. And I say, I told you you're going to laugh. And the answer is, how can you see me? And the answer is, the lights are on. And everybody, I go, no, you see, light are photon particles, photons. And when they hit your energy, they're deflected back. So are you seeing me? I said, no, you're seeing a veneer of photons that are hitting the surface and going back. If there's no light, you can't see me. Okay. And the point about it is the scans that we use today, MRI, CAT scans that look through the body, scans don't read light, they only read energy. So when you see a structure in a CAT scan, a bone, a nerve, a muscle, and you say, yeah, well, that's matter. I go, no, the scan doesn't read matter. The scan only reads energy. And all of a sudden you say, your body is energy. And everything in your body is connected to your body. And that's why the new medicine is stop looking at one part versus another part in your body. All the parts are integrated just like the ripples on the pond. You can't talk about my gallbladder did this. I say, yeah, but your gallbladder is connected to every other thing too. So you can't blame the gallbladder. So, but the point about it is this, what it really comes down to is simply we are energy beings and energy has no border. And as a result, we are entirely connected to everything in the universe because there are no borders. And that concept of separation, and I'm not part of it, I go, no, that's a conscious illusion. Why? We're all one. And all the fields influence you. Some fields are in harmony with you because the vibrations are all in harmony. And some fields are in disharmony where the waves are out of harmony, out of resonance. I go, so what's the point? I said, well, then that means when we act with energy, there are some energies that enhance us, good vibes, constructive interference, it's called. And there's some energies that can actually cancel our energy. That's called bad vibes, and that's called destructive interference. I go, guess what? Your whole life is navigating constructive and destructive interference in the field. And when you bring your work in, so I hopefully answer a question that's down the road here. When you bring other fields in, fields can enhance who you are. Some fields can cancel who you are. And so the point is, you look at the physical world, I go, that's the illusion. That's I love it. Einstein's quote: "Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a persistent one." That's what Einstein said. And the point about it is, this is all a nature of our interaction with energy fields. Now, my son, quote, quote, unquote, Alex, my student, no, he's closer, he's my son. He's understood this for a long time and has taken this back in history to see the so-called interactions of what leads us to today's expression of what we call the physical world, which is all built on the energy of consciousness and beliefs. And so biology belief is a belief story about us, but we're not the first people here. There was a lot of beliefs before we got here, and those beliefs have shaped the world. So I leave that. I let Alex do the history. I'll study the cells.
Awesome.
Yeah, the one thing in particular that absolutely is the same thing, I believe the word is not analogous, right, Uncle Bruce?
Analogous is something is like something. Homologous is something is the
Homologous.
same as something.
Yeah, homologous, okay, is the symbol of the tree of life, which is in the Kabbalistic understanding of the receiver of the tree. It's a representation of the tree. And without having to get into all of the interesting metaphysical stuff that comes from this science, which is really what it is, it's from a time where science didn't exist as the way we have it today, but it is a science. There is a mechanism to it. Basically, what it is the story about how we receive light, how we receive energy in its purest form, and it becomes clothed or embodied in different layers of existence where it becomes more and more what we end up with as the physical world. So at the top of the tree, you have pure divine light, and at the bottom, you have the physical world. And there's all sorts of associations and symbolic meanings for every part of this system. But it's essentially the same thing as the biology of belief, or epigenetics, really. The idea of a signal entering into the cell through the cell membrane, affecting some sort of change within the nucleus, which then creates an effect or response in the environment itself. So there's this cycle that occurs in the biology and occurs in this metaphysical system on how to create or understand how reality works. So it's another example of fractal reality, where no matter where you look, really, you'll see evidence of this very important truth about how we are absolutely co-creating this world. We are the creator, and then you look at history, it's like, well, where do we get lost? How do we get this story of God and the creator and the story of like the Force from Star Wars? Like, where's the divide? Where did it go wrong? Well, you can look at history and you can see how it all kind of happened. Like I was saying before, there's always two sides to every story. Well, there's a whole nother side to history that we're just not really aware of, but we're starting to become much more aware of it as the days go on here. There's more and more evidence to point to a time in the past where we actually had reached this level that Uncle Bruce talks about a lot in his graph about evolution, where on this midline, where there was a time a long time ago where people literally embodied both the energetic spiritual principles and the physical understanding of nature at the same time. You could see it in our history with the Native Americans, or even when the founding fathers wrote the Declaration of Independence for the United States. There are these little moments in our history where we kind of had both, like, sitting in balance of these energy and matter, so-called things. But there was a time a long time ago, well, we were actually living in a civilization where we embodied this. There was a civilization predicated on this idea. And I think what we're about to find out in the days coming forward, it's like the days getting crazier and crazier, but it's actually the greatest opportunity we ever had. We might actually get to see what the world is like when we live in balance and harmony. So it's not just in the past, it's happening right now.
That's cool. And I was looking at your video recently on Gaia about telomeres, and then you were getting ready to get into the fractal.
Fractal.
Yeah.
Just mentioned, because the word fractal, say, oh yeah, I've heard the word fractal. I said, tell you what fractal is. In math, you can make an equation, and now actually it only has addition and subtraction. There's no like square roots and stuff. It's like a simple equation. And when you solve the equation, you get an answer. But the fractal part is you take the answer, reinsert it back into the equation, solve it again, and you get a different answer. And you take that different answer and put it back in the equation and solve it again, and you get yet another answer. Every time you repeat this, okay, it's a cycle, but you use the same equation. The significance is geometry is math, but it's the math of how you put structure into space. Cubes, okay, pyramids, rectangles, spheres. I go, that's geometry. I say, what's fractal geometry? Geometry that uses an equation that repeats itself over and over and over again. The significance of right there is you're using the same equation. Well, if you repeat it over and over again, then you're going to get some image that is a reflection of the same equation, and it's going to repeat itself. And then you can keep doing it, and either the image is going to get bigger and repeat itself, or you can take it on the other side, take an image and repeat it, make it smaller, but it repeats itself. Fractal math is using this geometry. The relevance is nature is built on this geometry. Point is, if you understand the levels of organization, the pattern at this level of organization is going to be very self-similar to the pattern at this lower level of organization, which is similar to the pattern at the next lower level. So a cell has all the functions of a human. And I say, and what's the next level? 50 trillion cells coming together to do what? Manifest collectively the functions of a human. And that's why you can study a cell and understand how human biology works, because they're fractal, repetitive images. Nature is predicated on this. As above, so below is the equivalent statement of what a fractal represents. So if you can understand any level of this organization, you can apply that awareness to understand a level you haven't even looked at yet.
Mm-hmm.
So fractals are perfect for looking at a future.
Mm-hmm.
Where were we? Well, we're going to go to a very similar place, but at another level of organization. In the world today, we're going to leave behind that we're all individuals and recognize that each of us is a cell in the body of something bigger called humanity. So when I said, well, you look inside your body, I got 50 trillion cells. I say, yeah, but every cell is a free living entity. Every cell is a miniature human moving around in a community of 50 trillion cells. I go, as above, so below. How can a healthy person have a population of 50 trillion cells that work together so beautifully that they manifest a life of heaven on earth? I say, oh, they got rules. Oh, aha. If I study the rules of how the cells in the body engage in a community, those same rules are required to understand how we as cells, how many, 8 billion cells, are also going to exercise the rules of the body, so below, to make as above work in harmony. The evolution we're in right now is we don't recognize who we really are. We're not these individuals running in a world of crazy individuals. We are cells in a community of cells. And cells in community. Community is health. That's what it's all about. Our community in our world is fractured all over the place. I say, well, we can't get there. I say, not in the present world situation. But as Alex and I bring to the forefront, their patterns, we're playing a pattern. The future pattern is to bring us all together in one holistic, whole community where each of us recognizes the value of the other one, because every one of us is a cell. And I say to people, I say, which organ should we throw away in your body? Let's pick one and throw it away. And everybody, what are you talking about? And I go, well, you dismiss a whole bunch of people for whatever their beliefs are, whatever their race is,
Right.
whatever their religion. You say, well, but I dismiss them. I go, yeah, how's that working out for the whole? It doesn't. And the idea, what is the whole? All cells know they're working for the same end. And this end is heaven on earth. And the point about it is, can it exist? And I go, most of you have experienced this at some point in your life when you fell in love. Your life was blah, 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 blah. You meet a person, you fall in love. 24 hours later, you have a different life. 24 hours later, oh, life is so beautiful. I love my life. It's heaven on earth. I go, yes, you created that. I say, that was the portent of the future. That is, you're seeing what the future can be. What if everybody simultaneously lived the honeymoon heaven on earth experience? And the answer is, well, then earth is heaven, isn't it? And that's what the point is. We came here to create that. We've been misprogrammed, misknowledge, misperception. Take away our power. We're struggling, but we're awakening.
Yeah, I believe that.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I know when I was doing the research, trying to understand more, like you were talking about biophotons and things, like
It gets
I
confusing,
saw
but
they were studying that at Yale in the early 1900s, and I didn't understand how we got away from that.
because it didn't fit the Newtonian version of life, which was these are the rules. Isaac Newton, matter affects matter.
Mhm.
Ignore everything else. And mind was not part of medicine. Although they did get caught up with a problem. I go, what? How do you explain the placebo effect? And the fact is, yeah, I got healed with this pill, healed me. Oh, it was a sugar pill? How did I get healed? And I said, it was your belief in the sugar pill. Oh, belief, medicine? No, we don't talk about that. I go, well, you better, because it's a problem of belief or misperceptions that take us out of health and harmony and create disease.
Mhm.
And Alex, I love his side because he goes and studies. So, hey, this is nice. Tell me about it, Alex. That's what I ask him. And he goes back and says, well, this is where these beliefs came in. And this is where this misbelief came in. And I go, yep, that's unfolding the story of disempowerment.
Mhm. Alex, what do you see as far as like this big, like the shift that's getting ready to happen? Like,
Well, I think for a long time I would look at this shift that's about to happen in a temporal sense, like it's going to happen in the future. That's one of the programs, they're part of the operating system, I would say, in our beliefs about being human beings. It's our perception of time. We don't
Mhm.
really think about it. Our language is really based on time. We talk about things in past tense, future tense, present tense, what's
Mhm.
going to happen in the future, and then it brings up questions like, oh, if let's say I die and before the shift happens, will I even experience the shift? So there's these frameworks of our reality that have to do with
Mhm.
time, our perception of self, and life and death, what's going on the other side of that boundary. But
Mhm.
I think from the holistic point of view, we look at time not as a linear path where something is coming in the future. We have
Right.
to look at it as if it's happening right now. And part of the reason I think this is because, especially my work doing PSYCH-K facilitation with people, when you're
Mhm.
working on changing your belief, you have to put in a present tense affirmation of something that's true right now, even though it might not be.
No, no, no. It's something that is true that you want to be right now.
Exactly.
It's not
Exactly.
right now, but I'm putting in one I want to be true. Okay,
Yes.
go.
Right.
Sorry for the interruption.
No, it's a good thing to clarify. It's really changing the word want, taking the word want out of there altogether,
Mhm.
because that what already kind of indicates to your subconscious that you don't have it right now. So something that you want to be true, you have to put it in a language that the subconscious will understand, which is that first person present affirmation of what is true now. So it seems counterintuitive saying something that's may not be true in your subconscious mind, but that's where you get to do all the energy work and change your belief. But going back to the shift that's occurring or going to occur in the future, I think we have to look at it in the same way when it comes to changing our beliefs in personal
Uh-huh.
life. We have to see this as a shift that's already happening right now. We have already shifted. We are enlightened enough, as one of my friends would say. It's like, oh, I got to go through all this work and like go up the proverbial mountain of enlightenment to get to the top. And it's like, recognize that a lot of the things that we're trying to go towards, this is what the hero's journey in literature is all about. It's like you're going out on an adventure to go somewhere, only to find out at the end of the story that the thing you were looking for was at home the whole time. You were the thing you were looking for, basically. It's
Mhm.
really the experience of going out and learning about yourself that allows you to do this. But
Mhm.
the idea of the shift, I believe that it already happened. We're in the shift right now, and we just have to change our perception and
Cool.
realize it happened. Because the thing is, two people could look at the same exact world, the
Mhm.
same exact event, really, and see completely different sides of it. One person can look at a volcano going off and saying, "Oh my God, this is terrible. This is so scary and destructive." But the other person can look at the volcano and say, "This is beautiful. This is wonderful. This is the beginning of new life. Without this volcano, we wouldn't have all the new flora and fauna on this island," or something like that. So
Mhm.
it's really shifting our perception. I think that is really what the shift is. It's a personal invitation to have evolution happen within you. Evolution's not coming in the future. I mean, of course, fractally speaking, as Uncle Bruce demonstrated perfectly with the mathematical equations on how fractals work.
Mhm.
Fractally speaking, yeah, sure. Let's use the temporal language. Let's use the linear time language. Yeah, sure. In the future, something might be going on in the future that leads to a bigger change in our environment. But
Mhm.
we shouldn't be waiting for that. We shouldn't be looking off into the future or looking outside of ourselves for the answer. This is part of what civilization is biggest pitfalls have been, especially when it comes to religion and when it comes to the pharmaceutical industries, I'm sure, as Uncle Bruce would tell you, is that when we put our faith in something that's outside of ourselves, or we put our trust rather in something that's outside of ourselves, that's how we can easily be manipulated. Because if we start to see that God or spirit or healing, health, whatever is inside of us, then we start to realize that the shift is not coming. The shift is here the moment you decide it's going to be here. And that's really the whole takeaway lesson about co-creation, is that you have an ability. Your freedom is not necessarily the choice of which way you're going to go. I get to choose whichever way I can go. Real freedom is all about understanding that choice and what it is, and that it's an opportunity for you to choose at all. The balance of these things, really choosing to receive in a different way rather than to go down one way or the other way. Because some would say too, oh, depending on what we're going to do, the shift may happen or the shift may not happen, depending on our choices. It comes back down to our choices. We really need to recognize this is an inner shift that has to happen, as Uncle Bruce's series is called, Inner Evolution.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. It's so true, right? Owning our reality. Yeah.
Well,
You know,
and the point about it is,
Mhm.
as Alex and I know, we can shift our realities. We have done so. We're living in different realities than what we started with. And I can tell you what, I wrote the book, The Honeymoon Effect. Why? Because heaven on earth is a destination. It's like, I have that every day. I don't care who's running for president. I don't give a damn, because I'm creating my world around my belief system. And my world is, I love to wake up every day because this is a great experience to be in a creative place where you are actually being creative rather than perceiving victim that, oh, it's all happening to me. I go, no, no. Because if you own who you are, you have power. And if you don't own who you are, you're going to find somebody else to have power over you. And that's a big issue.
Yeah, and Uncle Bruce, just to play on that for a second too, like that's a really good point. It's because a lot of the things that we can't control in our world is what stresses us out, like, the president, for example. But again, turn it back, change the perception again. Who are you going to be the president of your own life? Because you have an opportunity to do that right now. Because as Uncle Bruce talks about, and really as the science just demonstrates perfectly, is that your mind is like the government of your cells. Your cells, the community, are being affected by your thoughts. So what kind of thoughts are you putting into your cells? Do you take command in your life? Do you take command? And I love that word even more than control, because there's just something that's more personal about it. It seems a little bit less intrusive. Command, it's like you're commanding the ship, because it implies there's a group too, because you're cells. You're not controlling the cells. I mean, who are we in relationship to the cells? We should be learning from them. So we're not controlling them, but we're taking command. Become the president of your own life in that way. I think that's, again, put as anything we can do to redirect it back to what the truth of the mirror is all about. Reflecting back to you, what, like, this is something that's going on within you, and what can you change about your life? Those are the questions we need to ask.
Right.
I didn't tell the cells what to do. I studied them. They showed me what to do.
Yep.
And so I'm not commanding something I have no idea of. I saw them. I know how they work, and I want to be in harmony with them. And when I got in harmony with them, my life is in harmony in the world as well. And so, I don't control them. And command is, I really offer, hey, let's do this. And hopefully most of the time they find that's a good idea and we do it. And yet, you can find yourself, a lot of people trying to say, oh, I want this and I'm going to control it and I'm going to make it happen. I go, no, that's not going to really work. Why? You're not understanding your cells are responding to a different story than you're responding to, and they don't care about your story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember one of your membership calls, you brought up the fact that sometimes people get sick because when they were little, that's when they were loved. And that was an aha moment for me. I was like, wow, that's full on serious. Like,
But
wow.
because your mind wants to go back. When was I happy? When was I loved? When
Right.
did I do this? And then you have a database and you go, gosh, when I was really sick, everybody took care of me and they all love me. Okay, so if I get sick now, can I have the same thing? And it's like, no, it's not going to be exactly the same. You can get your cancer and you're not going to get that same family going, yeah, come on, let's fix it.
Right. Right.
Not the same.
Right. You know, I really appreciate you both. And before we close our interview out and stuff, one of the things that came up when we were filming with and the interpretations of the aura photos was around the whole sense of angels or guides or past loved ones or in our energetic field. And so I'm just curious, like, what you would share based on both of you, based on the history experiences with energy and quote the afterlife, you know, because a lot of people get kind of caught up in the sense of grieving,
Yeah,
and
sorry.
it can really mess people up. So,
The story I give, which will make it very simple if you get it, because it's a simple analogy, and it's this. You have a TV and you're watching a show. The TV breaks. We say the TV is dead. I go, yep, you can't see the show anymore. But the question then arises, is the broadcast that brought that show to the TV, did that die with the TV? I say, no, the broadcast is always there. And I say, you just have to get another TV and tune it to the same station, and the show is back online again.
mm,
The idea is that we are receivers of a field of energy, that each person receives their own broadcast spectrum. No two people receive the exact same broadcast because on your cells there are these antennas called self receptors, and they're downloading your field. That's you. No two people have the same set of these receptors. So you have your own private signature energy field. Okay, field, spirit, same definition. So I can say you have your own spiritual field. Okay. The relevance about that is the field is not in the body, the field plays through the body. If the body goes, the field wasn't connected to the body, it's still here. And that if a future TV body shows up, if it's tuned to the same field, you're back, but in a different TV. Does it make a difference, male or female? I said, no, that's the TV, that's not the broadcast. Does it make a difference if it's white, brown, black, red, yellow? I go, no, that's the TV, that's not the broadcast. The point of our evolution that we need to come together in understanding is all of us come from the same collective broadcast field. We all come from the same field. That the separation, especially religion, is a man-made, introduced program designed to separate you from the other people. And I go, that is self-destruction when the revolution, the evolution is coming together in a unity, then those programs are destructive of unity. And we're facing these problems because look at all the violence and the wars over all the years that have been attributed to the religion. And
mm,
we don't like you because you don't believe what we believe, and therefore we're gonna have to kill you. I go, oh, cool program, you know. It's like I don't think Jesus had anything about killing the other people, and especially killing your own, which I always joke about because Ireland and England are both Christian, and that they fight each other over Jesus, the God who expresses love. I go, and how are you guys expressing love with the violence that you have? And the answer is because religion turned it into a violent competition.
mm-hmm.
And we're moving out of that. And as the last statistic, I think less than 25% of people in the United States follow a religion at this time, actively follow it, which is an important part of our evolution because, as I said, evolution is bringing people together in community. Religion is separation of people into groups that are not in harmony with each other. I go, oh, well, that's devolution. I go, yep, we're facing this upheaval now. And the idea is we have to learn we are a piece of God, spirit, field.
Mm-hmm.
You never can be separated from that field. So any religion that says, well, we need to connect you with God, I go, when did I get disconnected from God? And the answer is you were never disconnected from God. You're a piece of God, and you are a piece of creation. And that's what the point of our being here is. What am I creating? And right now, collectively, we're creating self-destruction. Why? Because misperceptions are a lack of knowledge. And the misperceptions have to be revealed and corrected so we can move into the future of what? We are spiritual energies here to create what? Whatever you like. The whole idea was, it seems like heaven was a great destination of creation, that we came here to experience what? Joy and love and happiness and community and all those wonderful things. And yet we're in the midst of destroying the world we came from. And so it says, well, you have two choices, as Alex would bring up. You could go to this way and just continue the destruction and wipe yourselves out. But who knows? That could happen. Or we can move this way, band together as a unity, become the community of one, recognize that we're all spiritual entities, and you don't have a right to mess with another spiritual entity. That we're going to have to learn that, you know.
Right.
And the idea is bring this to the public, because if you offer knowledge, then there's an opportunity for changing the world. And clearly, Alex and I are dedicated to what? Awakening consciousness, providing knowledge of the world, knowledge of self, and how you can use that knowledge to actually return to the original intention. Live a honeymoon every day of your life. Every day you just wake up and say, God, I'm still here. This is so exciting. I love this. You know, what I'm going to do today, I don't know, but I'm going to do something, you know. And the idea is there's this great joy of being alive, as compared to a lot of people wake up and go, oh, crap, I got to go to work. Oh, Jesus, I got to pay the bill. Oh, my God, I go, that's not my heaven. And Alex and I are generating our lives on fulfilling the nature of joy and happiness, which is what we were endowed to do, in spite of the crazy people all around.
And again, the polarity comes through again, because to one person's crazy person is another person's genius. It's all about perception, and the way that we see the world is really what it's all about. Again, redirecting back inward to understand the nature of reality, because it's a lot closer and more simple to understand things that way. And there's this term that comes around called the illusion of separation. It's really been thematic through this discussion, and we start to realize that there really is no boundaries. There really is no separation. It's an illusion created by our consciousness or our programming. But the idea is that the question is, there might actually be a purpose to this illusion. We're asking ourselves, why is this illusion happening? Where did it come from? How did it get here? And you asked a question earlier about angels or messengers and stuff like that. And this is an interesting subject, because we're living in a world today, as Uncle Bruce said, most people are not really adhering or following religions like they were 100 years ago, or as early as that. But we have to ask ourselves, if we want to know what angels are, well, let's look at the polarity. Well, there's a opposite of an angel. We hear about it. It's called a demon. Angels and demons. There's a great Dan Brown book called Angels and Demons, and it's really demonstrated the best with the so-called angel and devil that pop up on your shoulders. Highest and best aspirations. Oh, you should go down this way and help this person, and the other one's like, no, it's all about you. Just take care of yourself. It's like back and forth, back and forth. It's angels and demons are like a construct of our modern understanding of the separation, this illusion of separation. But what's interesting is, if you go back in time to history, you start to realize that angels and demons didn't exist in the way that we see them today. Really, there was only one term. They were called daemons, Daemon, daemon. And the thing is that daemons had, just like human characteristics, sometimes they were good, sometimes they were bad, sometimes a good person did bad things. There was like a trickster daemon who basically would help people, but then also like kind of make jokes and be mischievous with people. So it was a little bit more Ironically, the ancient people were a little bit more in tune with what humanity was really all about, not this polarity. There are good people and there are bad people. There are the crazy people and the not crazy people. This
Mhm.
polarity is so evident in our world today, even with the Matrix idea. Well, there's the people who took the red pill and the people who took the blue. We're
Right.
constantly separating people, but this is just one of our programs. And when you get back to angel and what it really all means, the translation is roughly means messenger, a messenger of God, right?
Mhm.
Messengers. Uncle Bruce has a great understanding about this. When we do energy psychology, or you get a symptom for a problem, you get mad at the symptom. The symptom is not the problem. The symptom is a message of the problem. It's a reaction to a problem that's going on beneath the
Mhm.
surface. So we end up getting mad at the symptoms or getting mad at the messenger. And then at angels and demons, people will blame the problems of the world. Oh, there's demonic forces out there. Oh, I was saved by an angel. You know, this it's very much exists in our folk stories and our folk
Mhm.
mythology, but then also it's in our science and the way we see the world. But where's the common root of it? If we strip away the positive and negative and we look at what it really means, it's a messenger. What's the message here from the messenger? Don't kill the messenger. The message is there for a purpose to show you something and to bring it full circle with this idea of the illusion of separation. I heard somebody say this once, and I think it makes better sense this way. It's a medical term called the delusion of separation disorder. We have a delusion. Our whole world is built on a delusion of seeing things as separate. But the idea of angels and demons and angels and messengers and things like that, you can start to really see that there is a higher purpose. There's a higher level of reality that's influencing our world. As Uncle Bruce talks about, there's the field that influences the iron filing. So magnetic forces are really what's behind these physical objects. So
Mhm.
angels, in my perception, is really just a term that we need to recognize that there is a higher, more deeper, more fundamental reality going on that we could perceive with our own two eyes. We have to open our proverbial third eye to see it. So it's really interesting with all of this aura photography and everything, because you can actually see with the technology that there is this other world beyond our five senses that we're starting to see maybe has something to do with the way the world is today and how we can learn from it and create a better world.
Mhm. Yeah, that's beautiful. Wow. Well, I appreciate you both. Is there any other thoughts you have for anyone that checks into this whole idea, the revelation of you and the fact that we're energy and we continue to go on and
Yeah,
can create
immortality with a creative streak. That's basically what it's all about. And
yeah.
owning creativity, but then that also is responsible for owning not just the positive things. Oh yeah, I did this. It was really beautiful. Well, that stuff. No, I didn't do that stuff. I go. No, you have to own the whole thing. But the
Mhm.
beautiful part about owning the whole thing is that when you recognize that negative stuff, and with that awareness, you can say, well, I can change that negative stuff. I go, well, now you're on the pathway to go the other way. And I had to do this myself. Wow, I wasn't spiritual. I didn't believe in this stuff until the cells revealed it to me. You know, I was over 40 years old before, oh my God, there's a thing called spirit out here. From a scientific point of view, I didn't learn it from devotion. I don't trust any of those people that try to sell me their religious belief systems because they set up the rules, and I'm not there with them on the rules, okay? I
Mhm.
understand the nature of it, but I detach from their perception of it and accept my perception of it. I don't need their rules. I just need to
Mhm.
know who I am and how I engage this machinery. And then I am empowered. And this is why the chaos is happening around the world. The rules that we've been living by have been self-destructive. Huh.
Mhm.
So you want to continue? Well, then you got to change the rules, which means change the civilization, which means it's falling apart, which to many people is like, oh, I go, no, no, it's like, oh, it's falling apart. Because the difference is, if it doesn't fall apart, we're heading to a destination I don't want to be involved with at that point.
Right. Right.
And yet I can see that there's an opportunity. If it falls apart, then we can build a new one that's better.
Mhm.
And that futurist Buckminster Fuller, who said, don't go in and try and change the old system. Step outside, create a new system, and the people will follow you out there.
Mhm.
And Alex and I are part of that team of where's the new system? And we love our work.
Right, right. You know, and before we actually close everything, I do want to mention for people that are interested in changing their subconscious beliefs, Alex is a facilitator for PSYCH-K, and we had an experience with that at the event last year, which was really amazing. We worked on is so Dr. Lipton mentioned one of the words he mentioned. Well, first he talked about self-love, you know, and then muscle testing that energetically to see where we were on that scale. And then he brought up fear. And as soon as you actually said the word fear, I was like, oh, I can feel it in my heart. And I was like, this is not good, you know. So at the end, we did an exercise, a PSYCH-K exercise, and to remove those subconscious beliefs, and they could be part of the
No,
collective.
no,
You guys have
no. I
mentioned.
want to emphasize, and Alex, I hope will support all this completely. PSYCH-K doesn't remove a belief or the experience. It
Oh,
doesn't change
okay.
that. You always have the experience. PSYCH-K takes the emotional, energetic out of the experience, so it doesn't issue the same behavior when you hear it.
Okay.
Because if you hear something that scares you, as you said, you can physiologically go, I can feel that.
Yeah.
Okay. But what if I could tell you something and you had no emotion to it? It's like, oh yeah, yeah, that happened. And all of a sudden it says what? You are no longer under the control of the emotion of an experience that you had. And PSYCH-K says, let's change the emotions and move them into the more positive side of things, which means you stop dipping your chemistry into the pool of darkness, and you start to clear up who you are.
Yeah.
And it's basically, it's really important that Psyche helps you change your emotion about something,
Okay.
but it doesn't throw away the memory, because if it did, you'd have to relearn it. So
Yeah.
Right.
okay, says you don't have to go back and relearn it, but now once you've learned it, you're not controlled by it
Right.
anymore. So
Think of
that,
it like time travel as well. You know, time travel, science fiction, right? But
Uh-huh.
you don't necessarily go back in time to your past or your memories and change the actual event
Mhm.
of trauma, let's say, or something that you're really trying to change in your present to future life. You're
Mhm.
not going back and changing the event. You're changing how you respond to the event. You're like Uncle Bruce said, you're taking the charge out of it. And that's really where our true freedom comes in. It's not about changing the objective reality necessarily. It's about changing our subjective experience, which then changes the objective reality. That's
Mhm.
the whole thing. It's not a choice between which one is the right one, which one is the wrong one. It's about changing the way you respond to the world. The way you respond to the world actually affects the world itself, contrary to what we've been told for so long that, it's just your feelings. Your feelings don't matter, or your thoughts don't matter. That's just a figment. There's a flimsy, it's a flimsy. Who cares what your thoughts or your feelings are? Actually, it's the complete opposite. Your thoughts and your feelings and the way you respond to the world changes everything. And you're
Uh-huh.
not limited to your present moment. That's what Psyche and other energy psychology modalities are basically doing, is that you can go back into your past, into your memory, because you do that all the time. Think about the last time you had a glass of water. Guess what? You just time traveled just now. You took your consciousness into the past and
Yeah.
re-experienced a memory. But
That's cool.
sometimes these memories are burdening us because we are actually actively living in these memories all the time. And
Uh-huh.
I'll end it with this thing too. It's like the idea, it's not, you're not changing the event. It's like the idea of regret. It's, you hear these term a lot. No regrets. I don't want to have any regrets. Well, the thing is, regrets are actually a pretty good thing if you think about them in context. It's basically the idea that you get to learn from your past. Like, if you don't have any regrets, I'd be a little like nervous to hang out with you, because it's like you're
Uh-huh.
very, very sure of yourself. And I don't think that's how the reality really works. It's like you never did anything that you think twice about, but that's the idea. Here's the difference. It's okay to have regret.
Mhm.
It's not necessarily okay to live in that regret and to perpetually be experiencing it over and over again. That's why a lot of people, in my experience, when they come to do psyche or any type of energy work like that, usually it's like some sort of regret or something in the past or something in the experience. They're basically living in the past.
Mhm.
So psyche is a really great way to, like, okay, let's get into the time machine of the human body, which is where you're already at the whole time, every day of your
Mhm.
life. It's just to it's to basically set up your time machine in such a way that you can re-experience that past event take the charge out of it so you're no longer living in it anymore. And then you could be free to live your present life without being burdened by your past. It's not about changing the past. And that's like in the movie The Matrix. The Oracle tells Neo, you didn't come here to make the choice. You came here to understand why you made the choice. You already made the choice. You have to understand why you made it. So that's really the deep philosophy of this. It's not about changing the past or changing the future or anything like that. It's about changing your perception. That's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's cool. So anyone watching
That
this,
works.
this is what it's like to be in a membership call with these two. It's awesome. I love it. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Rita. I hope some of the stuff that Alex and I have been talking about actually hits home with your target audience, that they see there's, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, there are other ways to see this world, and more healthy ways,
Yeah.
more happy ways, and more
Yeah.
ways of realizing the joy of living a life on planet Earth. That's what it
Yeah.
was all about.
Yeah. We can all create heaven on earth. I love that. So thank you
Yes.
both.
Thank you. Thank
very
you.
much. Yeah. Okay. Take care.
Take care,
Thank
everyone.
you. I hope it works for you, Rita. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Well done.